Exodus from the Pale Sea is finally dropped, and with it, the new Shapercaster archetype. I've been looking forward to Tecno for a while now. Summons in games are very novel to me, and I think she's got a fun kit.
Okay, sure. My puppet should be able to handle these guys anyway.
Shapercasters are fairly similar statistically speaking to core casters, having lower attack and defense in exchange for a bit of a deeper HP pool. Shapers make up for their lower attack value by occupying their range with summons and bolstering their offense and ability to hold by keeping them coming. Tecno's talent is all about her puppet dancers. Whenever a ground enemy dies within her range, one of them spawns in said enemy's tile, up to a maximum of 5. Once you have your maximum, puppets stick around in their original position until defeated or retreated. Puppets can also kind of overflow in a way, where they'll spawn on other tiles in Tecno's range if the one she's using are occupied. It's not something that's directly mentioned in the talent description, so I figured I'd mention it here. The puppets themselves block 1 and deal arts damage. They have a rather slow attack interval clocking in at 2.5 seconds, just as slow as something like a Crusher, and have an okay amount of durability for disposable summons at 1144 HP and 295 defense, allowing Tecno to potentially snowball momentum and keep it as she maintains her summons. Some minor pain points can be not being as effective in situations where there are harder to kill enemies in shorter supply, and positioning operators so they don't conflict with the few tiles she has to summon on. But these are minor quirks. Those things aside, there's still cool stuff here. Skill 1 focuses on the natural resilience of Tecno's puppets, granting them an additional 50% HP and 100% defense, as well as another point of block at Mastery 3. Tecno herself gains 50% attack. This is a pretty solid buff for her summons, granting them 590 defense, a little less than a defender-like baseline for perspective, and 1716 HP. It works pretty well for snaring enemies between puppets with the block gain, and allowing other operators to finish them off to supply Tecno with fuel for her summons if she needs it. It cycles well at a cost of 25 SP, and its 20-second duration gives it the time it needs to do its job. It's very simple, but this can turn a situation where you only have 1 or 2 puppets into one where you end up with a full stock by forcing enemies to stay in Tecno's range, getting you set up for later waves on a map. Skill 2 is, of course, the cooler of the two, and the better for general use. At Mastery 3, Tecno gets a range expansion, think Therapist range, and is granted 100 attack speed along with her puppets. Puppets gain the ability to attack from range, and can attack enemies within Tecno's range. At the end of the skill, a fresh set of puppets are respawned within Tecno's original range based on the amount you have. The 100 attack speed boost essentially doubles Tecno and her puppets' performance, halving the time it takes normally for them to attack. Having a range as large as she gets gives her puppets a lot of reach, and lets them do some decent damage before enemies get close, not to mention giving her more room to build momentum compared to her normal range. The recall keeps puppets from being left where they won't be effective after skill, and rewards you well for maintaining puppets during skill by giving you back the summons you had at full health right where you want them. 35 SP is a pretty fair cost for what the skill gives you, and the 20-second duration feels just fine in most situations. If masteries are being considered, Skill 2 presents a strong case for itself since the 100 attack speed boost is only gained at full investment, compared to the original 70 attack speed at level 7, which ends up giving Tecno a final attack interval of 0.94 seconds and her puppets 1.47. 100 is pretty impactful, moving that down a bit further to 0.8 seconds and 1.25 seconds respectively. Skill 1's boosts aren't so crazy that they need it in my opinion. Survivability is always nice, but when considering the actual cost of this skill's Mastery 3, the bulk puppets gain at level 7 is fine. We don't have module in global, but luckily it was recently released with the CN server's Act or Die event. Looking at her level 3 module, Tecno gets an expanded attack range, 2 extra tiles on her sides, and access to a stronger puppet dancer with stats increased by 400 HP, 100 attack, and 50 defense. Using a fully invested skill 1, this can give puppets a more competitive 690 defense and 2316 HP, a very healthy increase for them. Tecno also gets a solid additional 15% attack just for having puppet dancer on the field, adding up to over 600 attack. She even gets a little more attack speed, knocking her natural attack interval down to 1.5 seconds, giving her further benefit from skill 2. There's actually quite a bit more going on with her module than I imagined there would be. Makes me pretty helpful for the subclass going forward. So that's my quick take on Tecno. If I missed or glossed over anything, feel free to tell me, and thanks for listening.